Good day, everyone. My name is Navneet, Anand from Fiji Times, India Times, Australia. Today, attending the mission of trade from Fiji to Australia, and we have Minister of Trade and Commerce with us. Mr. Koya, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much for bringing the whole delegation here to Australia. Welcome to Sydney.
Thank you.
How satisfied you are from the morning until now with activities that have happened?
Very satisfied, actually. I think it was we had to do this as quickly as possible, as soon as the COVID barriers were down. We've been wanting to do this for a while. That's why it's such a high-powered delegation. And I think the response has been really good from everybody that attended. Your questions that, whatever questions that they needed to have answered were answered, because FRCS is here, Investment Fiji is here, and of course I'm here from the ministry's perspective. We've also got our trade commissioner also. So, as I said, and the chairman and CEO of Investment Fiji. So from a participant's perspective, I think everybody's quite happy that they got all their questions answered, and they continue to have some more questions at the moment. So
I think having a delegation of 30 coming from Fiji to Australia to market themselves, not only for Australia, probably when the message gets around the globe as well, there will be more opportunity from different countries for you to visit. So what is next on destination?
Well, we plan on doing this not just in Australia, and it'll be New Zealand and some of the other countries that we do business with. I mean, just for example, for a particular sector, like for the outsourcing sector, we just came back from Portugal, which was a very successful venture, and I went along with our trade commissioner from here. And that was really just specifically to do with outsourcing. So you will see that the government, because of the issue of diversification, we're looking at different sectors, and outsourcing is one of the bigger ones. So in terms of investment missions, it's not just specifically for a particular country or one particular sector. Sometimes we will do just alone, like we just did in Europe. So because, at the end of the day, Fiji is such a great place to invest. We're open for business. A lot of incentives that have been put in place in different sectors, purely because we are now looking at a massive diversification from tourism. As you know, it's about 40% of our GDP. So that's a lot. So we need to ensure that we don't suffer the same issues that we did just when COVID came around.
Talking about the diversifications, tourism has been the biggest booster for Fiji for all these many number of years. Agriculture has been there, which has been giving an injection to the economy to boost to the level what it should be. But yes, pandemic duration has been too tough for all around the globe, not only for Fiji. What are the other areas that we are looking into?
As I said, outsourcing is one of them. Manufacturing is another. We have a majority of the country is a tax-free zone. A lot of incentives that are being offered for pharmaceutical manufacturing in Fiji, for outsourcing, and you would have seen from the budget that those things have been made available prior to even, and a lot of tax reliefs and incentives for construction, etc., that needs to go on in the tourism industry. We're not taking our foot off the pedal with respect to tourism. We still need to build our inventory. So that's another area that needs to be built. But aside from that, those three areas that we're actually looking at, agriculture also we intend to grow. The organic part of agriculture needs to grow. We have a lot of pathways that we have already opened with respect to access into Australia, into New Zealand, into the US, into the UK, etc., even Singapore. We can tap into those areas. So even somebody from who's interested in agriculture, who is in Australia, and says, look, we can get a whole lot more organic land in Fiji that we can grow organic and manufacture and produce and send out to Singapore. You're more than welcome to attend. There are incentives that are being offered from that. So a lot of opportunity that's being offered in Fiji.
Outsourcing, tourism, yes. Agriculture. What about education and sports?
Definitely. I mean, the sports tourism is a huge thing. You'll see that because of Fiji's good name in terms of our rugby players, and the 7s and the 15s, you would have seen now that we have our own side, the Fijian Drua, that have done really well. Our ladies have done really well, for the first time into the competition, and they actually won it. So, it's historical. That has put us in a different space. There are sporting activities that wanting to come into Fiji, and they find it's a great place to come and surf, or windsurfing, etc. All of those things. Sports tourism is a big thing from us. There are other areas, adventure tourism, all of that happening. Films being shot in Fiji, that's another area. So there's a lot of activity around just now post-COVID, and people wanting to come back in Fiji, and a lot of incentives that have been put in place. I mean, I'm sure you've heard the FRCS CEO said, when he first came, he was shocked that we were actually giving that many incentives. But it's a great place to come and invest, and still a friendly place to be, and most welcoming place to be in terms of business and the environment that we've created. The necessary infrastructure that has been set up is actually good, for IT services, for financial services, all of those things. Why wouldn't you? For Australians also, for Australian companies, it's a phenomenal time to actually re-look at things where those, for example, the outsourcing area, those that actually got, I don't like saying this, but those that got burnt in the Philippines and India are now looking at risk diversification. They turn around and say, oh, well, Fiji's next door. They still offer the same services. They can do so. So these things are good for Fiji.
You were talking about the movie shootings and all that. After Hollywood, it comes Bollywood, the Indian film industry. So any plans to give them incentives or do promotion of the Fiji so that they can come and look at the locations what we already have?
Well, we do already. We do quite a few films already. I mean, there's quite a few that have come and filmed in Fiji and gone from Hollywood and Bollywood. The incentives are in place. Again, post-COVID, there are incentives in place for people to come. It's a great location. We already have that particular reputation around. They do know that there's incentives available. And they're starting to show interest again already. We, even just before COVID opened up, we already had some of the Survivor series that are still there, continue to do so. It's a great location to be in. And Film Fiji actually continuously deals with them. That's another part of the growing part of Fijian economy.
Now, being the Minister for Trades, Investment and Commerce, where do we see Fiji in the next 10 years?
I see Fiji as a hub for many things. It's a transportation hub, it's a trade hub, and we geographically we sit in a great place, and we are developing at a faster rate than that we ever have before. Prior to continuous growth for the last 10 years prior to COVID, which is a fantastic record for Fiji, we want to be in a good space. We strive to make sure that we capacity build within our own selves. We've got a very young population. So we want to be in the space of trying to get to being a fully developed country, and we're getting there very quickly. And I think it's great for young Fijians. We've got a great English-speaking, educated young workforce. These are the things that people around the world look at, how much are we developed, or where are we in terms of our, for example, infrastructure? Are we able to provide these services? We want to see ourselves in the next 10 years as being a government in a country that's created that space for people to come and invest in Fiji and be free and know that they're actually being, they can make good profits out of Fiji at the end of the day, and they're not. It's an investment friendly country.
I must acknowledge, I have met a number of ministers all around the globe, but after meeting you, I can see that energy, the vision, and that gest that you have to bring Fiji to the top of the map. Thank you so much, Minister Koya.
Thank you very much.
It has been wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.